faculty members, students of DJAME, and participants from other institutions. Now I request my friend Kamal Neek to introduce the speaker.
Mr. Gurukeerthi Gurunathan, co-founder and the senior vice president, is an accomplished internet technology veteran and a business leader with more than 18 years of experiences in the digital space. Prior to CartLane, Mr. Guru was managing an engineering teams in Yahoo, Bangalore, responsible for developing on web applications for the US and the European markets. At CartLane, Mr. Guru is responsible for developing all the technologies touch points across the CartLane in its B2B and B2C line of business. He is also leading the online business of Titan I Plus and the HR functions of CartLane. Earlier, he has set up and supply chain operations of CartLane, handling the back office operations of order management, warehouses, and the inventory. Mr. Guru holds a master degree in enterprises management from IIM Bangalore and a bachelor in computer science of engineering from the University of Madras. Outside of work, Mr. Guru either spends time with his family or escapes to the spiritual surgeons and social service on the weekends across Tamil Nadu. Once again, we welcome you, sir. Now I request you to take over the session.
Thank you both Anu and Kamalni for the introduction, and thank you, Professor. I mean, it's my pleasure and honor to be talking to this audience, and I think it's the first time we are also interacting.
Yeah.
What I thought was I'll probably today talk about the story of CartLane, which is. Can you just hold on for 1 minute, please?
Please, sir.
Just I need to be attending to something. Just 1 minute.
Please, Mr. Guru.
Sorry, there was a signature I had to do. Today I thought of just sharing my experiences, building CartLane alongside many of my esteemed colleagues, and also share some of the milestones in the journey to CartLane as well. So I think I'll talk more about the organization and thought process, etc. I'm assuming the audience here is predominantly students of the first year and second year management degree program, right?
That's true. Plus few people from the industry outside, but
Okay.
predominantly students of MBA program.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I mean, since somebody who has gone through the B school also, I think definitely a lot of learning from B school that helps us in the real life experience of running a company. But a lot of times, I think you would often see that quite a lot of entrepreneurs today runs a company without even a B school degree. So I would say B school degree enables a lot of us to get the necessary tools to run a company in a more scientific manner. But definitely a common sense approach prevails over common sense, and the business sense prevails over the just the education alone. So education without the the sense of running the business will definitely not be helpful. So so today I'll talk a lot about the the experiences in the story, and not too much about the jargons of the education subject itself. I am hoping that you will be able to relate to the subject and the concepts that you are studying and going through. Definitely, because either consciously or subconsciously, a lot of the thought process or the academic concepts is the one which actually gets applied in the business scenario also. So we may not call it out as such, but while I'm speaking about it, you will be able to pick up the concepts, and perhaps you can relate to things that you have studied in the course of your program. The way I've structured it is I think probably about 30 minutes of time I'll spend about the organization and building the company and how our journey has been, some of the decision points, and also give you a flavor of what happens in the company today. I mean, to have a company like this, what happens in across the various departments, what are we up to, etc. Something which I'll be sharing. Post that, perhaps if you have some Q&A, we can continue further on that. So I'll try to share the screen here. Before I begin, I think we can't do a quick show of hands here, but if we can, I would like to know how many of you uh, have heard about CartLane prior to this session. Professor, I think there is a poll option in this Zoom. If your admin can help in running that poll, that will be good. Otherwise, it's okay if people can just type on the chat. Is the chat option open for them, Professor?
Chat option is open. Manikandan, can you please?
Yeah, I'm checking, sir. I'm checking.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
if not poll option, at least a chat option so that people can type.
Chat they can go for.
Yes.
Simply, I wanted to know. I mean, I'm just trying to see the brand awareness part here. So
that's great.
Just give me 1 minute also that I'll try to pull up my presentation screen.
Yeah. You are not audible, Mr.
Can the admin tell me, looking at the chat, how many?
You can also have a look at the chat. Manikandan?
Okay.
So Guru can have a look at the chat. Am I right?
I think so, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I just pulled it up.
Okay. Yeah. Participants, quickly.
Are you able to see the screen, Professor?
Yes, sir. Very well.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So probably about 8 out of the 15, 16 messages, I guess. So let me just assume 50%. So that's a good number. I mean, statistically significant should have been at least 25 responses should have been there, but still in the interest of time, I'll just go ahead with 50% is aware of the brand CartLane, which is, I mean, happy about it. I'll be sharing it with my marketing team.
You must be happy about it. That's great.
Okay. And I'm assuming most of the folks are from across Tamil Nadu, right?
Yes.
So it's not just concentrated in Coimbatore.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
We have students from down south too, till Kanyakumari.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So I'm glad, happy, despite our absence in such, cities, I think still, there is a good awareness, perhaps because of the, the managerial program and the kind of the target segment that you might be aware of it. Yeah. So without, further ado, let me just move on to the small bit of presentation here. So I'm just going to try and see if I can play a small video to begin to lighten up the. So I'm going to just play a TV ad that CartLane had launched in the year 2013. Is this visible?
No.
Not visible.
It's visible, but audio is not clear. Am I right, Manikandan?
I'm able to see the screen only, sir.
Yeah, that's right. Audio?
No audio, sir.
No audio.
Professor, should I just share the link with Mr. Manikandan?
That would be better. Mani, can you
Yeah.
play from your side?
Let me try, sir.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute. Then in that
You can send the link, Mr. Guru. Let us try from our end.
So I'm just.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're able to see this.
Mani, can you see the link?
1 minute. Let me just try to put it on the chat.
Yeah, correct.
Trying to see. Okay, Manikandan. I'm just typing specifically for you, Mr. Manikandan.
Okay, sir. Please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Have you got it?
Yeah. YouTube, is it a YouTube video?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can click on the first one.
Okay. Once again, it is getting open.
So to the audience, right, this is an ad that we created in the year 2013. I just wanted to explain to you why I'm showing this ad. And, there are about 2-3 ads that we're going to see. Probably about for maximum, in totality, about 5 minutes, we will just go through certain ads.
Was it the first ad, Mr. Guru?
Yeah, the first one.
Okay. No. Was it the first ad which you launched?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you able to see the YouTube screen, sir?
Not yet?
No. Yes. Now, yes.
Okay.
Mani, it has stopped.
Yes, sir. I don't know. Got stuck.
Okay. Okay, let's do one thing.
मैं सीधी सीधी राहों को मोड़कर दिखाऊं मैं हूँ वो मैं हूँ It's great time to be me ना पिंजरे की मुनिया ना मोम की गुड़िया मैं होशी धड़क से तारे तोड़ लाऊं मैं सूरज झुकाऊं मैं ऊंची धड़क से तारे तोड़ लाऊं मैं हूँ वो मैं हूँ It's a great time to be me मैं हूँ वो मैं हूँ It's a great time to be me
For a closer look, ask for a free trial at home before you buy at CartLane.com.
So, yeah. So, Mani, you can probably stop this one. There's another one. I mean, I've sent you 4 links. So what you can do is you can probably have the second, third, and fourth just opened up and buffered in. So I'll continue with the presentation. So you can have the buffered up ready so that when you are ready, you just let us know and we will just play it at the right time. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So can I just?
Yeah. I will come to. I will close a share link.
You can move out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, Guru.
So to the audience, what I want to call out in that particular ad is you would have seen so many jewelry ads. Even today, you see such ads. But this is, imagine this in the year 2013, about 7 years ago. We were talking about a jewelry ad. You would have noticed a specific set of designs of the jewelry in that ad, and you would have seen the type of women who is our kind of the target segment that we were focusing on. So these are the this ad is totally differentiated when you compare with ads of let's say a GRT or a Joya Lucas or a Prince Jewelry and so on. So we were talking about modern women who are into various type of professions. You would have seen a photographer there. You would have seen a painter, an artist. I mean, and various other type of people also, a ballet dancer and so on. So that's the kind of evolution that we wanted to do for the jewelry segment, and hence that is the reason why CartLane was born also. Let me just take a step back and then introduce our company. CartLane was founded in the year 2008 by two people, Mithun Sacheti and Mr. Srinivasan Gopalan. They were the original founders. Myself and Avnish Anand joined a little later. Mithun comes from a jewelry background. He's a sixth generation of jewelers. So they are originally from people from Ajmer in Rajasthan, and who moved on to Jaipur and then to Mumbai. And Mithun set up his showroom in Chennai and Coimbatore, coincidentally also. So that's how he started. Srinivasa Gopalan was on the IT field. He was already running a company called Lister Technologies. So on one hand, you have a purebred retail jeweler, and the other hand, you have an IT professional, head of an IT company. They joined hands in order to form a company called CartLane. I'll talk about why that CartLane was born itself. So, and some of the other things about our about CartLane is India's first online jewelry company. Year 2008. I want you to just, I mean, some of you probably would have been in your higher secondary school, perhaps. Most likely, because this is about 12 years ago. You would have been very young, but if you probably think about it, this was the year when Flipkart was also born. They were trying to sell books and electronic items online. On one hand, you have a product or a category like electronics and books, which is much more standardized, where specifications are available, easily comparable, and you don't need to do a touch and feel of a book for that matter. On the other hand, we are trying to sell a very high-end jewelry, and that too started with diamonds, and we were also trying to sell diamonds online as well. So it's a very, very different set of category. It was in some sense path-breaking for a period like that. Because jewelry was traditionally bought on in a store. People like to touch, and people like to wear it and see how it looks, and so on. So to imagine that category to be sold in a medium which was also not evolved at that point in time is something which was I would say a few years ahead of times. But still, we took the plunge and made it happen. The website itself, CartLane.com, was launched in 2008. The company was also called as CartLane.com in that period of time, but eventually we dropped the .com to because it's not, the medium is not significant anymore, because the organization can stand without the .com. .com typically represents an internet company. And today we are India's largest omnichannel jeweler. Omnichannel meaning we are present in online as well as offline. We still have our website, making significant amount of business, but we have also opened up 92 stores across 36 cities in India, and we are continuing to open more showrooms year on year also. So we are a subsidiary of Titan. The investment from Titan happened in the year 2016. Looking at our growth and trying to see us as an extension of their own organization to have an online arm and to have the technology partner. Titan is a majority investor in CartLane, and hence we became a subsidiary of the company. And hence we got the tagline, a Tanishq partnership, post that post that investment. So just a small intro about myself. My background is computer science engineering. I'm a BTech in BE in computer science from University of Madras. I did post-graduation in IIM Bangalore, and I have got about 20 years of IT experience. I was working for about 7 years in US and about 6 years in Bangalore, and then in Chennai for the last 8 years. So all my experience has been IT prior to CartLane. Just in CartLane is when I started venturing outside of IT also. So I've been in part of CartLane since 2012. I was promoted to a co-founder along with Abnish Anand in the year 2016. So for the first 4 years, I was a vice president in technology. So the next topic I want to talk about is the taking you back in 2008, how the environment has been. This is important to know because this is the foundation, or this created the necessity for the birth of a company like CartLane. There were other companies that was born also, but it's very important to know why we were born. So if you look at the environment, India is the largest consumer of gold. Even today, we are significantly there. Today we are second largest, but back then also we were the largest consumer of gold. I mean, the gold is not mined in India. India is not the largest miner for gold, but we are the consumption capital of the world for gold jewelry. And the type of jewelry that was created were heavier, costlier. It was more for a lot of occasions. Primarily, there's a lot of wedding type of jewelry. People, when you think about jewelry, if you think about our parents or in that generation, parents or sisters, etc., jewelry is bought for important occasions. You buy a jewelry. One is a very good investment. When you buy a precious jewelry, but because it's a good investment, and there is a fear or there is a worry about losing it also, because anybody can easily steal the jewelry also, and hence it has to be kept in lockers, and you have to wear it only for the occasion and go back and put it back into the locker. That was the mindset of the women also. Though it looks beautiful, you cannot wear every day. That was unfortunately the truth. Just think about it, right? You have such a good thing. If you imagine you have a great TV at home, it is very, very functional and so on, but imagine that you cannot use it. You just have to close it and keep it. That's how jewelry was also. And in the economic sector also, if you see, many women were working back then. Now it is even more higher, but the income level was also rising, and there was a lifestyle change of women also getting into a lot of mainstream companies and high-tech companies, and who that time the only option available for them, there were two spectrum of jewelry. One is the traditional heavy jewelry. The other side would be like what you call as an imitation jewelry, or also called as fashion jewelry. So because there is definitely a need. I mean, because business students, you would know the need and wants and Maslow's hierarchy and so on. The need is definitely there to look beautiful, to wear jewelry, to adorn jewelry, but the need was not, we were not able to fulfill that need with the precious jewelry, because it is kept in lockers and the type of jewelry is also different. Hence that need was, because of that, was filled by a fashion jewelry or an imitation jewelry which costs few hundred rupees, and is, even if it gets lost, you don't mind too much about it. But I mean, you wear it and then for the daily use, and satisfy that particular need. So that was a problem statement also. And then there is also the second wave of e-commerce was coming up. For people who've been following technology would know that largely the wave of e-commerce started in early 2000. Company like India Plaza, which is what I've referred here. Maybe I'll use a pointer also here for you to see. So company like India Plaza, Bharat Bazaar, there were few companies, .com companies that, and Sifi, those are the companies which came into existence in early 2000s. And India Plaza was doing e-commerce, trying to list certain set of products and categories and fulfillment and so on. And but it wasn't very successful. The year 2000 started to see the likes of Flipkart, Snapdeal, Infibeam, Myntra, etc. started coming up at that time, which was supposed to be a second wave of e-commerce, and that was largely aided by the growth of mobile phones and the 3D technology, 3G technologies, and people having started to get some good high-speed connections. So, because this is a very good enabler, we need to have such an enabler to have a company which can be a technology based. India Plaza was also ahead of its time, I would say, and hence, today you don't see India Plaza anymore. That spot has been taken by the likes of Flipkart and Amazon and Snapdeal, so on. So given this situation, you can imagine, there is a need for certain set of problem statements. I'll explain to you why, and that gives the birth to a particular mission statement. And this was spotted by none other than my my co-founder Mithun Sacheti. Since he was in the jewelry field, he's already talking to customers. He knows where there are certain problems and etc. So he decided to start this company called CartLane along with Gopalan, and it has to be based on technology. That's how came in, and hence was the birth of our mission statement. It has one more statement, but I am just making it very simple and crisp here. So if we want to make beautiful jewelry which is affordable and accessible, so it's very important to know it. And it should be simple enough like this, and a mission statement, and it should have a purpose. And the purpose for why we exist is because of this, because this was not actually happening in that particular time period. In fact, it is not happening in a great deal even now, but definitely not in the time period. So we'll just break it down. So I'm going to spend next few minutes in breaking this down and then explaining parts of it. Is my slide visible, Professor, so far?
Very well, Mr. Guru.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first part is, if you take the first part is a beautiful jewelry, that is the thing that stands out of it. So how do we do that? Because even prior to that, the jewelry definitely looked beautiful, but we want to create modern designs for women, with the target segment of 25 to 40 years old, because largely, these are the category of people who started earning and have some discretionary spends of income. So, and they wanted to wear a jewelry which is modern in design and lightweight also. So the to make such a beautiful jewelry which is modern in design, you need to have very good design in one hand. The other one is also the manufacturing technique. There are various types of manufacturing in the jewelry also. Like you can do 3D printing, you can do casting, and so on. And so this was also because our co-founder was in the space. He was able to just identify and understand what is the need for such a beautiful jewelry to be made in a very, very lightweight manner. So hence the manufacturing technique also plays a big role in making this happen. And this jewelry, we decided it should be differentiated, because it should not be a standard design that would be available in any other store. It cannot be run of the mill. So it should be differentiated. Even you would have seen the same in the ads also. The type of jewelry at that time definitely was very unique. It was a game changing in terms of the designs. And when we make such a jewelry, beautiful jewelry, we want it to be worn in a daily lifestyle. People should be wearing it to work, even if they are at home, they should be wearing it. So it should be a precious jewelry. At the same time, it should be worn by people, and which means if you're doing a daily chore, it should not be spoiling the quality of the jewelry itself. So that is also an important that has a role to play. But on the other hand, it should also look pretty and beautiful. Even if you are just going to a neighborhood shopping center, also still you need to be able to wear it, and it should make you feel beautiful. I mean, that is the role of any jewelry. But in a fashion jewelry or an imitation jewelry, though it might just look beautiful externally for some time, definitely it won't make you feel very comfortable and beautiful. So the whole jewelry itself, as you know, it's an emotional segment. If you think about it, jewelry is not like has a functional necessity in the daily stream of life, right? It's something which people, it makes people look beautiful. It touches their emotions, and in various ways, for the people who are wearing it and the people who are also gifting it in some sense also. So hence this should have that power. The jewelry, the look of the jewelry and the feel of the jewelry has to be powerful enough for people to able to buy it. So affordability, how do you make, if you are to make such a beautiful jewelry with so much of differentiation and the constraints, how can you make it affordable? Because the cost would go up, right? So some of the things to consider there is price points. At what price points we would be launching it. So at the time when we launched it, the website and so on, we are launching it to the range of about 10,000, 11,000 rupees as a price point on online, which was pretty high, because people are, if you think about it, you'll be able to buy a cell phone or a laptop for a high value because there is a standard specification available. You can compare one site versus the other and do it. But if you are buying a differentiated jewelry, you cannot have great comparison points and designs. You can do a comparison in terms of the gold weight and the diamond prices. Hence comes the transparency. So about 12 years back, the jewelers were not very transparent in their pricing, to the extent even what we do today, because you can see in our website or on the mobile app, you can see that we give the breakdown to the final dot. We exactly tell what is the making charge to all the gold grams versus the diamond weight and so on. And to make it affordable, the cost of production and operations has to be optimized. Because end of the day, if your costs are high, you're going to translate it into the cost of manufacturing the jewelry, especially in the making charge, and then going to charge the customer for that particular high value item. So you should have that under control, and people should perceive the value for the money that they are paying for. Because though they know that it's a jewelry at the end of the day which is going to cost them few $1,000, but still there has to be inherent value in buying it, and the design should speak for itself. Accessibility is the reason why we started off online, because when you are an online company, your immediate presence is you become a national company on day one when you launch a website. It's a very important democratizing feature. Not many people will realize it today, because quite a lot of people are born digital today. When they are growing up, they already have the cell phone. I mean, the babies have cell phones in their hands. They know technology already. But people like my generation, I'm sure professor's generation also, we can say that technology was a eye opener. That it can be a very big differentiator and a democratizer. So when we launched our website on day one, we became a national company, which is unbelievable, unheard of at that point in time, as opposed to other jewelers, like the retail jewelers. If you can think about them, they were either concentrated on Chennai or any retail region is when they are concentrated on. They are not, even today, an organization or a company like a GRT or a Joy Alucas is not popular, let's say in Madhya Pradesh, or it's not popular in a Sikkim or in Assam or Calcutta or etc. Similarly, the BBJs or even TBZs etc. of the Western India is not quite popular in Southern India. So every region has jewelers who have a strong presence in that region. They are not available pan India even today, and CartLane actually identified that spot, and we were able to just jump into that spot today. So today, with our presence of 92 stores across India, if I do a survey like the way I did it in the beginning of the session today, for a conversation in Delhi, I am pretty sure at least 25% of the audience would be knowing CartLane. That is because of our brand presence, across India, and we were able to capture that market, and hence there is always a competitive advantage or a first mover advantage when you have to have a spot that is vacant and you go and fill that spot. At the same time, you're also fulfilling the need of the consumer also. So online presence wasn't just sufficient. Hence we because while during the course of our time in the year 2012, we realized that just by being online will not give the growth for this particular category, because still people had a need for talking to somebody and being able to walk into a showroom and ensure that this is a real brand and be able to deliver and have a touch and feel of the product, maybe to wear it, at least to talk to somebody about it. Hence we first started off something called experience centers, had a small presence in we started our first showroom in Delhi, and we thought of having that as a point of presence where people can walk in and then simply interact with a sales representative there, but still transact online. So we wouldn't have the inventory being available there, but we would just have somebody to talk to and talk about the brand and talk about the way to purchase jewelry there. It started off with that and slowly evolved into the current concept of showrooms, the jewelry showrooms. So today we are a full-fledged jewelry showrooms. I'll talk about small strategies that happened there as well the course of the time. And then we launched something called Try at Home as a concept, which was a unique concept for the jewelry industry. This if you look back in time, this was a concept that existed in the family jewelers. Some 30 years ago, even today in certain pockets of India and probably tier 2, tier 3 towns also, there is something called a family jeweler who will come to the home, bring the jewelry pieces and display it in the view for the ladies in the house to take a look at it. And or even it's a family purchase experience of getting together and seeing the jewelry, especially for weddings. It still happens. And they choose the jewelry that they want and then pay the money. That's how it happens on various scenarios in India today also. So we just modernize that concept to call it as a try at home, where people will be able to use the technology, go to our website, try to book 5 pieces of jewelry that they want to see at their home. Without any obligation, we take those pieces of jewelry to the home of the consumer, and we will be able to, if they like it, they can purchase it then and there. If they don't, they can just send back the person without any obligation, and there's no fee for doing that also. You can think that this kind of service helps in this scenario. Today we are talking about just today morning I got a message from my relationship banker. He sent a message saying, Guru, you don't need to step out of the house for even withdrawing the cash. You have the check handy and we will send the person will collect the check and he will withdraw the cash and give it back to your home. So you can see that home service is something which is catching up even today. It is present today also in a different segment. And this door-to-door marketing or even something like that was introduced in Eureka Frope's time also a few years ago. So the mission statement pans out into various aspects here. Make beautiful jewelry which is affordable and accessible. So it has to be at a price point which is different from the regular retail jewelers or the large jewelry showrooms that you see today, as well as it should be accessible anywhere the consumer goes out. It should be, and that is what brings in the omni-channel capability. So these 3 factors, online, offline, and try at home, all 3 are put together, making this organization an omni-channel. We are agnostic to any channel. So you can actually discover jewelry anywhere. You can actually shop anywhere, and we will ship anywhere. So we are agnostic of the medium in which you do. So you can actually discover online, buy in stores. You can discover in stores, buy online. You can make book appointments, and people walk into the a salesman walk into your house to show the products, and you can book online and go to store and try at store also. So we have got all the combinations covered, making it as a unique proposition. So this is how we built it, and we had a need for it, so we built it over a period of time. um, and if you think about the current situation, still India is the second largest consumer of gold now. China is ahead of us, and US is a distant third. So I think India and China kind of trade places year on year, but still, these are the largest market for today. And precious jewelry in modern design is much more high in demand now, because of the burgeoning population of women in various sectors. And hence, they the lot of our consumer base has increased tremendously over a period of time. And even our sales and revenue, and people who browse our website or walk into our stores, all of that has exploded, due to that particular need and the demand that is available for this type of jewelry. And you can see that from 2008 to 2020, the gifting occasions itself has increased manifolds. We celebrate Mother's Day today in great fervor. And today birthdays are happening with gold being gifted in scenarios like that. And Akshaya Tritiya is a very big phenomenon. It used to be a phenomenon even back then, but the level in which it has reached now is unbelievable. And the Valentine's Day celebrations and the anniversary celebrations, and you wouldn't even believe that people celebrate the first year work anniversaries. So many anniversaries happens today. So because you just need to pick up a particular theme, and anything that gets done in that particular year, I mean 1 year after that becomes an anniversary celebration. And hence every anniversary celebration we have an opportunity to sell our product, and people can actually gift jewelry for that occasion. So that's very important to note. And back then you can see that e-commerce second wave was starting, but today, um, I mean, you all know already that e-commerce is a way of life. We don't even blink an eye, doing a lot of things. But still, if you think about things in perspective, we consume a lot of content online today. We consume either the textual content or the video content and so on. But one of the statistics I took from a report online, which is actually apparently a Morgan Stanley report, is we have about 670 million internet users today in India. I mean, out of the population of 1.3 billion, right? So almost like 50% of Indian population are internet users. But if you think about the other statistic, only 30% of that number are shoppers. Mean 30% of people out of that 670, roughly about 200 odd, right, are the ones 200 million people are the ones who are actually doing online shopping. So what that means is there is still, though there are internet users, people might be browsing for various things. They are ready to check their emails online, or even have they consume the content online, but not necessarily be willing to swipe a card online. Because internet transaction is something which is still catching up. When you compare this number to China or US, they are way ahead. So China is like the same report was talking about China, about 78% of Chinese internet users are all online shoppers. Hence, the growth of large companies like Alibaba, etc., happens in China. And the same US is about 70% of internet users in US are all online shoppers. So the kind of awareness and ability to do transactions online is still a factor that is playing out in India. So hence, as you know, India is the we infamously invented the cash on delivery concept in India, because that is the only way Indians would do transaction, because we are very risk averse when it comes to dealing with cash. Hence, we want to see the product, and we want to then pay out the cash and buy the product. So we get the best of both worlds. So we discover online, and we place an order and without paying a rupee, and still get to see the product and transact when the delivery happens. So I mean, this though is a benefit for the consumer. For a business, this is a very big obstacle in getting the necessary revenues in order, because the cancellation rates will be high when you do such a transaction. But we do understand that all the internet companies today do understand that it is a slow phenomenon. I mean, people are adopting to it. They are getting, even back in 2008, or I mean 10 years ago, the initial set of people would always experiment with the necessity ones, like IRCTC, for example, was a very big path-breaking website to get rid of this particular stigma that is associated with the online shopping, because now people have a real functional need to go and purchase a railway ticket online, for which they're ready to even swipe a card or make a transaction, or a net banking, etc., can be done online. Because travel is still the first one that broke this particular stigma. I mean, retailing is still the second one, and there are many other categories. Fashion, etc., comes a little later. But the biggest part is the travel segment. That is where, whether it is an IRCTC for railways, or a Make My Trip, or a Clear Trip for booking flights, etc., that became the initial wave for booking online. And then jewelry is probably very, very high in the segment for people to do. And but still, we can see a huge growth in that also. So the opening up of 4G technologies, I mean, the Geo opened up the space, right? 2016, I think it is a very big year for India, when Geo opened up the market for so many non-internet users to jump onto this bandwagon. So this is my last slide. I have put together a lot of things here. In fact, I wanted to talk a lot about various things, but then I wanted you all to see in one shot about various things that happens in the organization also, and what are the things that we do in-house to have such a company to be built. So I'll start from technology. These are some of the departments in the company, to give you a flavor of what happened across the board. And there are other departments also, like for example, finance is there, there's admin, there is customer service, etc. But the major, I have tried to integrate quite a lot of that over here. So technology, we started off with website, and moved from web only application. We have now moved to apps. We are present in iOS and Android and so on. So the second is the concept of virtual try-on. Is the second concept that we try to bring in as an innovation in this particular industry. We launched the world's first virtual try-on feature in an app, both iOS and Android, for trying earrings on the ear of the individual. Can now Mr. Manikandan play the second YouTube ad? I think that is relevant to this particular piece. If Mr. Manikandan, you hear me, you can play the second YouTube.
1 minute. One second.
Sure. So the virtual try-on, I mean, you would have heard about VR and AR, right? There's a virtual reality and augmented reality. Virtual try-on is a feature where the consumer will be able to see earrings on the app and take one picture and then do 180-degree rotation and still be able to get the feel of wearing that product, or how they look, not the feel, I'm sorry, the look of how they will be looking when they wear the earrings. So are you ready, Mr. Manikandan?
I'm going to stop this screen sharing.
Sure,
okay?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Able to see the screen, sir?
Okay.
Every day is the beginning, all
Yes.
the all in the street, too busy to weep. I stop and
Try
say
on
what
thousands
that
of
thing
earrings
saying is true.
till you find the pair that looks just perfect on you. Share it with friends, buy online and save up to 25% only on the CartLane app.
To be doing the things that'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the ad you would have seen about trying on the product. So you can take a picture of yourself once, and then you can start trying thousands of earrings. This is a problem that today which happens in jewelry stores, right? Imagine the experience of walking into a store, and they would have a large inventory of earrings, and you may want to try about 50 pieces. I'm pretty sure the salesman sitting across the counter is not going to be happy with their experience. Even though you might be happy trying to wear 50 pieces of jewelry, it's not going to be the same kind of experience for the other person on the other side. So, and the other problem is when you are wearing a jewelry, a earring, usually, as you can imagine, you turn the face around in the mirror, and you cannot see your face and and how the earring looks on your face by looking straight. So you have to twist your eyes and twist your head to make a kind of an assumption of how it would look like, or you need somebody else besides you to solve that problem of telling you whether it looks good or not. So we introduced this app so that you can see for yourself how you look. You take a picture once, and then you can try numerous earrings, and it will just find it's an application of detecting the earlobe and then trying to place the product right at that particular earlobe and be able to see a 180-degree view of it. So this is a technology innovation that we did. And within the team, I'm just talking about a transition from when I joined to where we are today. We moved applications from data center to cloud. These are all essential. The reason why I'm talking many of these within the departments are some of the kind of blocks that we have to build. These are called as the building blocks, to build a great omnichannel company. Moving to cloud gives us the flexibility and power to scale whenever we want. We have three big occasions in a year for us as a business. Dhanteras, which is Diwali in Tamil Nadu, and Dhanteras is the day that prior to Diwali is what is celebrated across other parts of India. So Dhanteras is our largest season. Akshay Tritiya is the second largest, and Valentine's is the third largest for us. Outside of this, there are many other times in which we do promotions and make a sale happen. So for all these seasons, when there is a spike in the traffic on the systems, etc., moving to cloud helps. We move from an enterprise architecture to open source architecture within the technology space. This helps us to do more faster launches of features and critical fixes that we want to do. So within the technology, there is always a question of what is that you want to build in-house and what is that you want to buy from outside. So some of the capabilities you would prefer to build in-house, like the try at home and or the e-commerce part of it, or some of the omni-channel behavior. But certain things you actually, when I say buy, I also mean that it can be a SaaS-based service also. For example, analytics software can definitely be outsourced. I mean, you can use a third-party software like a Google Analytics, etc., to do. And we have also invested in machine learning and AI capabilities within the organization. So, which is slowly coming up to speed. At this point in time, it's used internally, but soon we will have certain features coming outside also externally. So the second part is the integrated marketing. So when you have a company which has a digital presence as well as the traditional retail showrooms, you need to have a marketing concept or a philosophy of integration, integrated communication, right? Because it should come at this time when it is happening in both the mediums. So one small example is when you see a hoarding on the road, you would be seeing a particular image of a product and particular discount. The immediate behavior today is when you see such a hoarding, people go online and then try to see whether when they go to CartLane, they should be able to see that same product available in the same discount. If we at that point in time say that the product is not available, which you saw in the hoarding, or it is not available on discount in online, it is applicable only to retail, the customer feels betrayed about it. So the marketing communication, the promotions that we do, all of that has to be integrated. That's the promotions. So a lot of we focus a lot on metrics. So because we are digital, everything is measurable. We measure right from the time people walk into our so it's similar to a retail showroom, right? If it's a small retail showroom, the salesman or the people in the counter will be able to see when you walk in. They visually see what you are actually, where your eyeball is moving towards, which promotions that you are seeing, and what product you are choosing from the shelf, and what is that you are trying on, and what is that you are putting into the shortlisting into the cart basket, and what is that you are actually going and buying. You see how so many stages happen in a retail journey itself. So
Mr. Guru,
that, yeah.
Sorry to intervene. Your PPT is not visible. You can share your PPT if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't.
The last slide.
Sorry, I didn't realize it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So the first point is on the metrics. So that same level of metrics can be done in online. Online, right from where people are coming, which source they are coming in, from that point on to where are they clicking on, which shortlisting filters that they're using in our website or an app, and then what are they actually adding to wish list, or what are they adding to the cart, and what are they coming back to purchase. So many things goes into play here. So metrics is so important for the promotions as well as the conversions of our users. Consumer insights. So with the metrics, you have to translate that into a lot of insights. Just by seeing the funnel is not enough. So you have to start seeing what is the top of the funnel metric. If you are able to get the first level of, there will be about 1 million users that can come, but then finally it translates into hundreds or thousands of people who are buying it. So what is happening across that? What are the insights that you can derive, and how can you use that insight to make better decisions? And I spoke about promotions already, and trust is a very important factor in a jewelry segment. It's an important factor in many businesses, especially so in jewelry. And this is where the Tanishq partnership and Titan brings in a lot of value for us. So the year post the year of investment from Titan or Tanishq, our business catapulted, to many folds. And definitely we can attribute a lot to the Tanishq and Titan partnership. That's the reason why today Tata is a most trusted brand in India. So because to build that trust is very, very important, and it is a very, very important subconscious enabler for you to pick a product very easily off the shelf. Or even when all things being equal between one company versus the other company, if the first company has a lot of trust value associated with it, you wouldn't blink an eye before even making a purchase. So then the policies. So until the point when CartLane was known, even today, in a $50 billion industry, online is just less than 1% of it. So you can imagine still most of the jewelry purchase happens offline today. But within that, when you have when you're building an industry, when you're building a particular new age industry, the policies for the customer has to be very, very friendlier, or it should address the problem that they may have. For example, one of the biggest problems for the customer is if they buy just online, looking at the jewelry online, what if they don't like it? In a category like book, I mean, people might accept that, okay, you can return it, etc. But a jewelry, you can easily buy, use it, and then sell, send it back also. So we did start with a very generous return policy, no questions asked return policy, 30 days return policy. Now we have a 15-day return policy. And we also have a very, very attractive exchange policy, lifetime returns. So these are things that an organization has to do in order to win the customer's trust in the absence of a very large trusted name. I mean, today we have Tanishq and Titan backing us up in the name, in the trust, But even when that was not there, we were still quite thousands of transactions were happening on our site because of the friendly policies. And the marketing does a lot of activity in the social media. So you already know that Instagram, Facebook, are important two social media platforms for a visual category like jewelry. So in a different category, Twitter, etc., might be useful, but for a visual medium, these two are very important platforms to be doing marketing on. So and even our marketing today is actually AI ML driven, but it is done by a third party service, but still we do a lot of remarketing ads based on AI and ML. So sales again is, I'm talking about the third department here. Sales again is an integrated category. So we have an online business and we have an offline business. So online sales is managed by the chat support center, the call centers. So we have a toll-free number for people to do transactions online, because we realize that for somebody to purchase a jewelry online, whether it's a first time buyer or the second time buyer, they need assistance, and that assistance should be provided over phone or by chat. We have so both the mediums available today online, and people there are staffs available to support throughout your journey in making the assistance happen. And there is a pre-purchase team and there is a post sales team also, just like how both of these are integrated in a showroom, but in an online center it is separated. So the 92 stores that is present across India has a mix of CartLane owned stores as well as franchisees. So this is again another strategy. It's a business model where there is a risk that you actually try to diversify the risk, so that not all the risk comes on the shoulder. It's a win-win for various partners in the game. Omni-channel is the important factor about omni-channel is how do you manage the inventory. Jewelry is a category where inventory plays a very big role for pricing. The reason why a large retailer is charging heavily is because of one is the presence of that retailer in a prominent marketplace, which are large showroom, which has a very big fixed cost investment, as well as inventory. There is a huge investment on inventory in a store like a GRT or a Joy Alucas or a Prince Jewelry or a Malabar or a Kalyan. So there's so much of investment that they've done on inventory, which is not what CartLane does. So CartLane has lesser inventory, but we have a richer catalog. So people can either pick the product which is readily available versus something which can be manufactured to order. So we built, and so omni-channel is a name that is also signifying that the inventory is shared across the channels. So when you see a particular product on the website, that particular product could be in any one of the stores across India. So when you buy that product, we actually ensure that in the backend, we are able to move the product from that particular store into your house, meaning we should be able to pick it up from there, bring it into a warehouse, and then be able to deliver and dispatch it. That's how you share the inventory. Hence, now the inventory plays dual role. It is there in the showroom for people who are walking in to see the inventory, as well as it serves the purpose of an online consumer. So in-house POS, we built a point of sale in-house to make better experience of the sales when people are. So in our showrooms, when you walk in, it's not a traditional showroom. We allow people to walk into the store, touch the product that they want, try it on themselves. And if they want to bill it, we use an iPad and bill it right besides the consumer. So we don't need to take the product into the counter and then make a sale there. We actually make the sale happen using an iPad there, and the printout happens in the common printer. So we built an in-house customer relationship management, very effective tool for understanding the customer journey, because online, offline has to be integrated again there. So you have to be able to understand the consumer to a greater level of detail. So we know precisely when a consumer walks into a showroom, we know if they have already browsed the website, if they have added something into the cart, and we can use that to our knowledge and then tell the consumer that, hey, the product that you have added in your cart or a wish list is now available in the showroom in which that you are visiting. So that's the kind of experience that we are trying to build, and we have almost built some of the capabilities there, and that will give the discovery to delight. So from the consumers who are discovering online, they walk into the showroom, they get delighted with the experience. The last piece is the Shaya and International. Today we are present in, we have created another brand called Shaya, which is a silver jewelry, and also we are also shipping international. So, Professor, I want to just take a small pause here and a quick check on the time. I would need 10 more minutes to finish this slide, if that is okay. Otherwise, you can let me know how are we doing on time.
Absolutely, you can go ahead, sir. Please.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
So the next is the supply chain. For an online business, this is very critical. You would have all heard about Amazon or a Flipkart supply chain, right? This is very important because the moment, I mean, this is needed for two decision-making points. People who want jewelry for a particular need, let's say there's a birthday coming up 2 days from now, or anniversary 4 days from now, etc. They need the product to be readily available so that they can buy and be able to ship it to the location. So hence, you need to ensure that quite a lot of your products are readily available. If some of the products which are made to order will take longer time. So hence the supply chain is a very critical feature. So we constantly evaluate where the product should be located and how much of a product, what is the kind of inventory needed per store, per season, and all of that stuff. So there's a data science that goes behind it in order to determine that. And we have launched a new way of enticing the customer by doing same day shipping. We do constant communication with the customers on their order status. So the moment you place an order, so from that time onwards, when the order, when the jewelry started to get manufactured, when it is quality checked, when it is actually packed and dispatched, where it is at this point in time, till the point it reaches the consumer. And the movement of products in supply chain is very critical because I was talking about the omni-channel earlier. You can imagine if the inventory is shared across India, we need to ensure that the inventory moves very quickly for various reasons. So it moves either for a seasonal demand, or it moves for the reason that a particular customer has booked a try-at-home appointment, or it moves for the reason that a particular customer in a store has placed an order and the order has been booked in a different store. So many reasons that we move the products across. Hence, supply chain is very critical in that. So to do all of that, we have enabled what is called as a micro FC fulfillment. FC is a fulfillment center, which is also called as warehouse in other categories. So micro FCs play a very big role. Where micro FC, you can imagine that as a local warehouse. So for large region, pocket of regions, we built warehouses which are smaller in size within that region. So that acts as a hub for that particular region deliverables. And just in time manufacturing we do. So we don't do large scale inventory manufacturing. We ensure the manufacturing time is very less. And earlier I was talking about manufacturing technique. So that also plays a factor here, so that you are able to, the time when you get an order is when you will start the manufacturing. And you should be able to complete the manufacturing in an order of a day or two and be able to ship for most of the jewelry. There are definitely some complex designs which would, or a platinum jewelry which will take much longer than days. It might take some weeks also, but still customer knows the shipping days ahead of time and they are willing to wait. The reason is because they are very sure that for manufacturing such a design in another traditional jewelry, it will cost more. So we ensure that the affordability factor comes into play there for the customer to get a product at a much lesser price, but at the same time guarantee with all the other things, right, like 15-day return policy and so on. So supply chain, the last piece in supply chain is it has to be very efficient, both in terms of the operations as well as in terms of the costs, because that's a place which has something called the concept of variable costs there. So you have to be efficient because the cost is dependent on the orders that is getting booked. Hence, it is variable in nature. So you have to ensure that the fixed costs are lesser and variable costs are the ones which is there, so that we at least are covered if the business is not business is either doing very well or not doing very well at a certain point in time. For example, in a kind of lockdown like this, having a larger variable cost would have helped, because if there is no business, then you are at least not spending the costs, you are not investing on the costs. So the next department that we want to talk about is the merchandising. Their role is to do design the jewelry as well as merchandise it either online or offline. So they are the ones who actually are responsible for ensuring set of products are sold, the categories of how many earrings should be there, how many rings should be there, how many bracelets, pendants, what kind of designs, what is selling where, which store, which region, which season, all of that are the job of the merchandisers to understand and be able to do a very good job in doing that in order to make the sale and conversion happen. So they do a lot of predictive analytics in order to decide what goes where and what will sell where. Products to collection. Earlier, we were thinking jewelry as just products, and then I mean, 10 years back, we started building something called collections. A collection is a set of products with a particular story to it. So, for example, we had something called as a peacock collection. So, where we introduced all the vibrant colors of peacock in all the types of products that we built with enamel coloring. So it's a design technique as well as an artistic technique, and also carefully weaving a story into the whole collection itself. So one can have a peacock earring, or a peacock design based ring or a pendant. So the collection weaves into that story, and we have collections on historical monuments. We have collections on the butterfly collection, or stories about royal kingdom, or royal romance. So many things. We have collection on forest. So the concept is actually then comes into the design story to make a very beautifully looking product. So, and we have our own manufacturing center both in Mumbai as well as in Chennai, and this helps in reducing the cost. Affordability is also there, but at the same time we also buy finished goods and do job work outsourcing. So the design is ours, but we actually end up giving it for somebody to build it. Still, we come up with our own design. And the other thing is there's something called RPMI that you do measurement, which is revenue per measurable impressions or millions is what people call it as. So what that means is assume that a particular, we have something called listing pages in our website and in our mobile apps, right, where you actually browse through a catalog of products. So those products, you are actually you should start measuring how many such products have been viewed by consumers. And despite viewing, if they are not buying it or adding it to a wish list or adding it to a cart, then you have to keep on churning that set of products in order to ensure that you are able to bring in the product which has got the best value for both the organization as well as for the consumers. If let's say I keep this happens in the retail showroom also. You keep in a mannequin outside, right, in the showroom. If you put a particular piece of a sari or a churidar or a jewelry, whatever it is, right, if people are not walking in by seeing that or not liking it, the salesman keeps changing that. They keep changing it in order for you to, one is obviously to have a refreshing set of product view. The other one is to address the likes of the consumer. That is very important. So similarly, how do you do it digitally? Digitally, we also keep showing products, but the more you like the product, browse it, the more you see it, then we actually keep that product aside and keep bringing it onto the bestsellers. But if you don't, despite giving that opportunity, we keep moving it out, and eventually the non-saleable product becomes gets refurbished also. Merchandise team is responsible for the margins as well. So the whole ensuring the right manufacturing, merchandise and manufacturing put together here. So ensuring that we get adequate margins for the business. Am I audible still? Professor, I think I lost you.
Audible, very well audible.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So the last department I want to talk about is the HR department, which is responsible for building the culture of the organization and hiring the right set of people, especially across the board. We want to have a mindset, because this is an e-commerce company with the retail has a mix of people who are traditionally rooted in the traditional sales, and also people who are more digital savvy. So we want to marry both the set of people into a single culture. So that is a big challenge in the organization, and that is what HR deals with, the culture of being very nimble, very agile, and very fast in decision making, less bureaucracy, and even the hierarchy. uh, I mean, a fresher to the co-founder is just 3 levels of hierarchy in our organization. In some cases, it is just 2 levels. So despite being, we are a 1,000-member organization. I mean, today we are about 1,000 people, including our partners. And within CartLane itself, there are about 700 people. So all of that to weave into this kind of a cultural mindset is a big challenge for them. And we are geographically distributed also. We have a large office in Chennai, we have an office in Mumbai and Delhi also, and our showrooms are spread across India. So to get it all in the same platform, have a same cultural mindset, etc., is the activity of HR that is being happening. And the hiring also follows some similar patterns on both cultural fitment as well as the role fitment for whatever skill set that is needed for the role. And HR plays a very big role in controlling the costs. In a scenario like this lockdown or shutdown period, the costs are very, very critical. And how the HR manages the cost is a very big function of the organization to become profitable, and even it plays into the final P&L of the organization itself. And HR is obviously responsible for the employee satisfaction. So they keep measuring quite often to get the employee satisfaction, and try to improvise themselves. So in my introduction, it was referred to me handling HR. I was handling for some time, but not recently, not right now. So I was handling full warehouse and fulfillment for some time, and HR also. But now there are department heads for such departments. So beyond that, there is this consumer experiences, customer experience, customer satisfaction. We do surveys, ensure that the quality is maintained across showrooms as well as online, and so on. So for every single thing, we think on both sides. We don't think ourselves as an online company. We're not a .com internet company. We are a omnichannel jeweler. So we think about both the mediums and ensure that all are done uniformly. So finance, obviously, finance plays a horizontal role in all of this department. Everywhere finance comes into picture, and that's something which I didn't mention over here. Just give me 1 minute. And with that, I would like to stop and just pause for some time. So I would probably, Mr. Manikandan, if you can play the last 2 videos to just to give a flavor of how we have evolved in our communication. Even from the beginning, you would have seen our marketing promo to where we are today. What kind of audience we are addressing now is something which will be very evident in the other 2 videos, which is run in. It is just a 2-minute video, so I hope you can
sure, sir.
See that as an end.
Sure, sure. I'm closing your video screen share.
Okay, sure. So I was talking about new age tech and workspace, etc.
Thank you.
Hey. order. Come now. Come. You can have it. Order a pizza. See that. Kritika. No, please. I'm going to order. Yeah. Yeah. Give me one chef's veg wonder. Leave it. Oh my God! Are you dragging? Have them.
To the colleague who always carries a little extra dabba. Happy Valentine's Day. Let's celebrate the love that finds us every day.
So
That's a beautiful ad.
there's just one more. So
Yeah.
the ad you would have seen as transition from the simple jewelry based ads to relationships. This
Okay.
is the second one there is what the money you can.
Can I go for, yes. Can I go for the next one?
Yeah,
Yeah, 1 minute, 1 minute.
not that.
Okay.
The next one you have as a tab, right?
Sure. Yes. The roomies.
Yes, the room is here from the
One second,
beginning.
one second.
See, the video is stuck.
Is it?
To the roommate who always gets ready in the dark. Happy Valentine's Day. Let's
That's
celebrate the love that finds us every day.
Is it okay, sir?
Yeah, that's fine. So basically, what happens is, the roommate buys CartLane jewelry for the other person. So these are actually the modern, girls within the 22 to 40 years old who actually celebrate Valentine's. It need not necessarily be celebrated with the opposite sexes. It can be just for your friends also, and it's a very good time for gifting is what we try to promote there. So there are many such ads, but I just wanted to pick 2 or 3 and then wanted to show these.
Yeah.
All right.
Quite insightful, Mr. Guru. Thank you very much. It's great listening to you. Let me just set the ball rolling. Probably, if I'm right, we experience 3 kinds of customers as far as jewelry purchase is concerned. Probably number 1, quite conservative. Of course, I still remember we used to call the jewelry maker to our house and we used to place orders. We used to select the design, okay, very, very restricted ones, very, very limited ones among which we need to select a particular design and we keep placing the orders. I mean, this is the one kind of segment. Of course, if I am right, this segment is still surviving, probably in the interiors. Yeah, in the interiors. The second one, of course, the influx of organized players like some of the brands which you have pointed out, Joy Alucas, Joe's Alucas, okay, etc., etc. So all the players, they came into the picture. And the third one, I'm looking at people like you, like CartLane, which has completely redefined the purchasing behavior of the people as far as jewelry purchasing is concerned. Okay. Now I'm just looking at the size of the segment. Okay. Probably the first segment is getting shrunk day by day. The second segment, it's on the rise. And the third segment, I'm looking at your segment. What is what would be the size? Because ultimately everything depends on the trust factor.
Yeah.
To what extent do people do trust? By going by your presentation, it looks like, this is my perception, please correct me if I'm wrong, you seem to be focusing on the new age segment rather than targeting the entire cross section of the segments. What is your take? What is your take?
Sure. It's a very good question. See, even for this segment, as I already said, that segment, the age group that we're talking about is a 25 to 40, which is primarily working women for a daily workwear. People who can just wear it daily. That segment is definitely not as large as a jewelry being bought for weddings. Even today, wedding jewelry segment is the largest. But this segment, the one that I'm talking about, has a very good potential to grow a lot. The reason being, if you think about jewelry purely for the purpose of wearing it, that is one purpose. The other biggest thing is gifting. So today in a gifting segment, we will be competing against whether you gift a wallet. I mean, I'm just talking about a high end or anything that you think which can be valuably gifted, which runs into a few thousand rupees. I think we will be present there. And hence, even the Shaya brand I was talking about, it's a silver brand that we launched. It's available in the CartLane website also. So that brand is actually available in few thousand rupees also. So the average price point is only 2,500, 3,000 rupees. Whereas for a jewelry like ours, the average price point, if you are buying it online, is about 16,000, 17,000 rupees. If you are buying it in retail, it is a little more involved. So it will be about 22,000, 24,000 rupees. So if you are talking about a wedding jewelry or a wedding suite like that, that runs definitely into few lakhs, as well as single jewelry would be at least 70,000 rupees. But we feel that anyways, that's not the segment we want to be in. That is what actually Tanishq is doing today. Tanishq is heavily present over there. But we think that this segment that we are currently addressing has definitely a need, and it is also very, very growing. And in terms of scale, this has the largest potential. But it is not touched the potential today. If you talk in today's terms, definitely the market of the traditional retailer is very, very high, because they run into thousands of, as I told you, online medium is less, but though you can treat it as a medium, but still that segment runs into thousands of crores today. So very heavy when compared to ours.
My second question, of course, you said Titan invested in your company sometime in 2016. Okay, probably that speaks volumes about your brand equity, I can call it, because a big player like Tata is coming and investing in your, what else you can look for. Am I right? Okay, now my question is pre-Titan investment era, post-Titan investment era. How do you look at it?
No, we see it in few phases. This is something which we have also seen ourselves internally.
Yeah.
It's a best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Actually, Tanishq is the largest single organized retail jeweler in India. I mean, today, if you think about, I gave you the problem of the national brand, right? I was talking about GRT not known in northern India, like the way a TBZ is not known in southern India, but they are all very large in their respective regions. Whereas a Tanishq is the only retailer in India, organized jewelry retailer, which is known across India.
Yeah.
So they are the largest offline retailer, and CartLane was the largest online jeweler. So we joining hands is a natural marriage to be the successful partner in anything that we do. So it just played very easily. So the benefits that we both took from each other are, so we took a lot of relationship that the Tanishq has with the network of retail partners that they have today. So today, large scale of CartLane partners are also Tanishq or a Titan partner. They would have a Titan showroom, or they would have a Titan I Plus, or they will have a Tanishq showroom. They also have a CartLane showroom today. So that is the first benefit that we have. The second, which I already talked about, which is the most important, is the trust factor.
Yes.
So there's no words to describe that. Definitely, it's an experience only, and that helped a lot in doing that. And the third is the manufacturing capability. The Titan has the largest jewelry manufacturer in India, and they have that segment available. Wherever needed, we were using their capability. In return, the Titan was actually taking a lot of our digital technology capability. How to actually win a consumer online, what to measure. I was talking about metrics driven insights, right?
Yes.
That is very key, because we were born digital. We know exactly, what are the various things to measure, and we know the domain jewelry segment also. And we were very good in lightweight jewelry, whereas Tanishq is very good in heavy jewelry.
Yeah.
So these are things that they took away from us, and we helped a lot. And that's the reason why I was leading the online business of Titan I Plus. So
right.
Though that business, because for a technologist, right, any domain looks the same. For me to build a platform for an eyewear or for a jewelry is very similar to me. Hence, we were leading it, and to make it official, now it is back to Titan. I Plus is, from this year onwards, they are actually leading it by themselves, even the digital part. So for the last few years since the partnership began, we took on many of their capabilities and help, and they took on many of our capabilities, and knowledge sharing happened. And now we are both independently trying to do many things ourselves also.
So it's a perfect win-win scenario.
It is for the consumer also.
Yes, yes, that's right. But you started off as an online retailer only in 2008. Am I right, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. When did you start, or when did you launch your first offline store?
First store was in 2012. It took 4 years for us.
4 years.
To get the first store open. We opened up in Delhi, because even today Delhi is a very large market for jewelry. First store was opened in Delhi.
I leave the space open for the audience to raise questions.
Very good morning. I'm Chitra from Amanashalingam. So about the segment that you were talking is already flooded with Swarovski, Pandora Box, and such international brands. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So what are your plans to take it international, and how do you think it is? Because with teenagers, you are focusing from 25, but now I find even teenagers wanting jewelry. And as a consumer, they want Swarovski or Pandora Box and such brands, international brands. So how do you think CartLane can beat up and do?
Yeah, so sure. So I have mentioned in my slide also, there's a part where I said international. So that's a recent venturing that we did. Today, I mean, we were present in US. When I say we were present, I mean online wise. That's again another leveler, right? By virtue of having a website itself, you are already available for anybody to transact online. Even few years back also, we were having some NRIs who would purchase for their relatives or their parents some anniversary in India. So they buy they buy on the website, and the shipping address would be to deliver to somebody in India. That's how it started. But today we are able to consciously do international marketing, and a big part of our business is growing up in US. In US, there are various states, predominantly Indians, but there are some non-Indians also. So we are catering to that segment because our design today definitely has some of our designs have international appeal, but definitely some of them definitely cater to the Indian likes and desires. Hence we are targeting the NRIs based out of America and UK, Australia, and Canada. These are the four countries to which we are shipping today, and predominantly it is for US. So talking about the teenage people, the reason why we are not see, when I say our segment is from 25 to 40, I am talking about the bullseye segment, meaning the segment largely we cater to. That doesn't mean our jewelry is not bought by anybody under 25 or above 40. A lot of people do purchase, but our predominant, the core part of our business is this. The reason is also because of the earning potential. Today, a teenager doesn't have an income on their own, so they are relying on their parents' expenses. Hence, that's not the segment in which we are targeting, because there might be a one purchase, but repeated purchase is definitely done by their parents also. So if a teenager has a 45-year-old mom or a 40-year-old mom, definitely they will already know about CartLane if they know that jewelry can be bought online. And our presence is also 92 stores. Half of the stores are present in malls. So today, because of which, when you're walking into various malls, people know about us as well. So we're not directly competing against a Swarovski also. We're not doing that.
Because Swarovski today is even available in jewelry shops, replaced diamonds. GRT, etc. They say Swarovski crystals are having resaleable value. So
see, there would be definitely small pockets like that. So what we are trying to build is a brand that can stand on its own across various jewelry categories. So it's not just one piece, right? Like a pearls or a diamonds. We are talking about a CartLane design. So that is the piece we are fighting for. When we were wanting to sell an Amazon or a Flipkart, we realized that only it was very meager. Meaning we were not able to sell on an Amazon or a Flipkart because people come there for a marketplace, not for any jewelry experience there. So then we realized that vertical jewelry presence is a very big role, because assistance is very much needed to talk about our brand, to experience the brand. All of that is needed. Hence, we don't even list in Amazon or Flipkart today. So, and having a small, sorry,
I have also visited your showroom, and I always feel it is you are competing with Jewel One most of the time, because Jewel One was an affordable brand that was launched initially offline. I mean, in stores for Indian consumers, affordable prices and all that. But CartLane, but I will tell you, the brand name itself, it means not affordable. It means it's status oriented. So I think I had to convince one of my friends saying that you also have cheap ones, not cheap ones, low cost ones in your showroom. And before I could pick her up, because by the name CartLane, she thought it is only diamonds, it is going to be expensive. And that was the perception that my friend had when I wanted her to visit CartLane. So, and even when we browse, but because we are all users of Tanishq, I think we could get into CartLane. But even when we browse for online jewelry in India, I don't think the hit of CartLane is there. I don't know now. I think at least before 6 months, I didn't get it in the first page of it. So I was thinking this term CartLane, but anyway, it's very nice because it means jewelry. Carat means something which measures the quality of the jewel. Right. Anyway, it's good, but still I was thinking the keyword usage, I don't know how we are doing it because I teach Google Analytics also. So some other day maybe you can talk about that, how to make your page visible in the very first page, search engine optimization or something with your brand name.
No, we are very much. I mean, we've been doing that since. In fact, even before I joined, I would say the SEO optimization has been there for a long time. It is a game.
Okay.
It is a game that is played between the 4-5 players. And in fact, 2 years ago, we were the largest in the online space. In the SEO, we were ranking for the top 520 keywords. That is meaningful for the jewelry segment. We were the number one, and in the last 1 to 2 years, we are constantly we have lost the spot. Now actually Tanishq has taken over. Tanishq was nowhere in
Yeah,
that
Tanishq is doing.
space. But if you see, until a year ago, Tanishq, for the last 10-15 years, Tanishq was nowhere there, because online is still only less than 2% of their business. In fact, they don't even, Tanishq brand name is so big and powerful in the jewelry segment that the SEO optimization is quite not attractive to them in any way. They are okay if the business comes in, but 1 to 2% is not a thing that they fight for. Actually, 98% of their business comes from retail space, where people already know, and they discover and go walk in there. But for us, it is important, and we have had top spots for many years. It's a constant battle to win this spot for various keywords. It's an ongoing work that always happens. We either lose to Kalyan sometimes, Candier picks up, or Malabar has picked up for some time. Bluestone has come up for some time. Tanishq has come for some time, and so on.
And in Coimbatore, we have some online local retailers who get
Excuse me.
listed.
Hello, ma'am. And we have many number of people
Okay, thank you.
line for questions.
Thank you, sir. Anyway,
Yes,
just
ma'am. Thank you.
interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Srinivasan, you have a question now. You are online. Srinivasan, Lokeshwaran, Venkatesh.
So, shall I just address one question which is in the chat?
Yeah, that is a question Mr. Srinivasan wanted to ask.
3 questions are there.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
First one is, this is a particular industry where it is more skill labor oriented, as well as the huge amount of stock that you want to hold. And it's capital intensive also. And you must have a nice balance between these two. How do you address that, number one?
Let me just address that. So that's why I was earlier talking about is we do a mix of own manufacturing as well as job work manufacturing. So in a job work manufacturing, it is done predominantly in Mumbai, and that's a space which is the big ecosystem is already available. And in own manufacturing, it is anyways the raw material and the cost of manufacturing that comes into play there. So the inventory is something which is the trick here. You should not be having huge inventory like another traditional jeweler. If you do that, then your cost is going to be very high, and then you'll not be able to manage the flow. So how well you manage the inventory turn as a concept is a reason for existence of a brand like us. So if you are able to churn your inventory in a very good number, then that same inventory outflow, the cash flow that is used there, is going to give you a very good return. So we manage that using analytics and performance measurement of various investments in the inventory and take a decision accordingly.
Normally, any investment has to have a return, but gold investment, there is only value addition. There is no income as such, apart from the gold bonds that are now being issued. And still, there is a clamor for this element.
From a consumer perspective, you are saying? Or
yes,
from a business?
The investment part of view, an investment must bring me some return, unless there is return, because we evaluate lots of investments based on the income, etc. But here there is no, but still there is a clamor for this yellow metal, especially in India, as your slide shows. India is the largest, second largest behind China. How do you rate this? Clamor for
So,
yellow metal still remains.
yeah, I mean, that is something which is, see, it is both, it's cultural, the heritage, as well as it's one of the very oldest industry also, right? It's not something like an electronics which has come up now. So the desire for this comes from generations after generation. I mean, our grandfathers, great grandfathers, and grandmothers, they were all adorning this, and hence it continues to, come into the mindset of the individuals. So that's why the new age generation jewelers has to cater to the current generation needs. They cannot still stick on to the old way of doing it, or old medium of doing it also. So because I mean, that attraction is what keeps this whole gold thing going on, right? Because gold is, even in times like this is an asset that people follow. I mean, people jump. This is not tied to equity market. So it is something which is traded outside of this, and hence the large fluctuation in this gold business. It's also because of a lot of other trading and bonds that comes outside, and the asset being valued differently.
Third one is a very tricky question, sir, about your wastages and your making charges. People frown upon it like anything. No, the moment they say the wasting, this, making charges, etc., even if he has got the, as you said, tradition, edition, etc., everything drives me towards purchase of this. But still, I have, what is this? But all your advertisements talk on that. Less wastage, this wastage, that wastage.
We don't do wastage. You can see our website also. See, if you break it up into parts, right? This is not an MRP business. In fact, we didn't make it like an MRP business. In a large fashion jewelry, in a precious jewelry, in a premium brands, if you go, they may just say this jewelry costs this much. You take a piece of jewelry, and it will tell you that this costs like about, let's say, $2,000, and that's how that may be sold. Whereas in Indian market, especially for CartLane, we actually say the grams of is this much, and this is how much gold weight in this particular product. I'm talking about a studded product where there is a mix of gold and diamond. We precisely tell how many pieces of diamonds are there, and what is the color and clarity of the diamond which is there, and what is the cost of diamond per carat there, and what is the cost of the per gram gold rate there. So everything is transparent. So the only thing that we add on is the labor cost. There's only, because that is obvious, right? Even for anybody to see, gold is comparable in the price. There you can compare with any other company, and diamond also, the price can be compared in the market. So the only thing that we are asking, or anybody can assume, is the making charge. So their consumer can have a perspective to say the making charge is high or low for a particular design. See, but that is not justifiable, because the labor has to go in the back end, and we have to manufacture it, and that is a cost of manufacturing. So we don't do wastage charges. It's very, very transparent what we do. That is another reason also. And this transparency started in the year 2008 itself. That time, I mean, today you may have many other retail jewelers who are also transparent, but 12 years back they were not. And we try to break that kind of approach.
Thank you for an excellent presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, can I pose a question to you, sir?
Sure.
Actually, it's a question and as well as an observation. The question is, you mentioned a very, very interesting point. Say, I'm adding a product to the cart and visiting a store. The store knows the product which I have added to the cart. Okay, how this is known to the store people? That is the question. So it's a very interesting part. I think you have to have very good integration among all the things.
No,
the observation.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And the observation is, while you are presenting, I downloaded your app and I was searching the store at Coimbatore. There is no store in Coimbatore, and a person came for a chat assistant. I think some name came, and you don't. It seems you don't have a chatbot.
The one I was talking about, we have built a chatbot internally.
Okay.
But that is not. We did not launch it for various reasons. So we decided to go with the human chat at this point in time. We want to continue to do that.
Okay.
So that's the answer to your second question. But in Coimbatore, we are present in Crosscut Road, actually, in Coimbatore.
Oh, then it did not show me. The lady who came for the chat, she said we don't have that. maybe she went for the pin code. I gave the pin code for Singanallur, and Crosscut Road has different pin code.
Okay.
That's possible.
Yes.
But at least city-wise, they should have said, I'll look into it.
Yes.
But we were present in, I think, Avinashi Road earlier.
Okay.
But we have, I mean, that was a shop-in-shop model, but we actually wounded it up. Crosscut Road, we are present there. So now, in the first question, if you have done some action online, and if you walk into the store, unless you tell us who you are, we wouldn't know.
Yes.
See, that should be there. If you say that, this is my mobile number, or if you can check, we are actually piloting a concept called check-in, store check-in, where as soon as you walk into the store with a QR code, you'll be able to check in into the store to say that you have now walked into the store. If you do that, now I know that who you are, right? Once I know who you are, what you did online, if I have a track of it, because if you have logged in and done it, then we already know who you are and what you have done.
Okay.
So that is purely used for the reason to say that if you have added something to your cart and you're interested at that point in time, and if that product is available in this store, I think the salesman can now easily come and tell you that, hey, Mr. Manigan, you have added something to the cart. If you're still interested, I have the piece with me in the store. Then you might like it at that point in time. So that's how we want to make that
interesting point
transaction happen.
Yes. Thank you.
Sure.
Venkatesh?
And students can be invited?
Yes, sir. Venkatesh? Or Lokesh? Yeah, Venkatesh, go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Venkatesh.
Yes, sir. Sir, in general, the jewelers define their quality of gold in their promotions such as 916 gold, 24 karat gold, etc.
Yeah.
In the era. So in the online, you are selling a jewelry. How do you define your quality and purity of gold?
We do the same hallmarking like a retailer also. So online has no different standard. But what Tanishq and recently CartLane also started doing it is doing our own certification. See, one is gold standard is the hallmarking. That happens for all the products that we do. Even the gold coins that we sell, it's already hallmarked by the authorized hallmarking centers. And for diamonds also, there is something called GIA certification that is available for diamonds. The Gemology Institute of America, of GIS, etc., is available to do. That is how we were doing it. So that will all certify individual pieces. Now, what CartLane and Tanishq has decided is that, especially taking cue from Tanishq, so Tanishq is a big brand in itself. So you do certification for the reason to say that this is something which is genuine product, and I certify for that. That is the kind of reason why you do it. But the brand of Tanishq is so big that itself is a certification authority in itself. So consumers are not doubting a Tanishq brand or a Tata brand when it comes to certification. So they started doing their own certification itself. So CartLane is also coming up with our own e-certification to say that this is like your self-assessment thing, right? You are I'm saying I'm vouching for this, and if you are finding any difficulty or any problem with it, I am responsible for this. I can definitely guarantee this is what we are saying, because all the other certification authorities are also only private. It's not like it is a government agency which is doing it also. So our brand, once it establishes, we will not do anything to jeopardize our own reputation in this industry. And Tanishq has long withstood that such a kind of good. And in fact, Tanishq only introduced something called carat meter. They brought in that technology by which it can immediately tell in a store what is the carat for a particular product which is there. So with these measures, it becomes very easy. So online also you have to do that certification. Online is just a medium. So it is not because there are some companies which might have probably cheated online, because online is still seen probably by some people as a medium where a lot of cheating could happen. But that's the reason why we have complemented stores and online together, so that even if they have a doubt, all we say that you walk into a store near your city, any large city they pick, definitely we would have been present there. So we just ask them to walk into there, or we send a person from our store or a try-at-home team to go there and then visit them.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I'm Lokesh, a student at DJ Academy.
Hi, Lokesh.
Thanks for your wonderful session, sir.
Sure, welcome.
I want to hear 3 things which evolved during the time of COVID. First one related to online. How will you implement contactless delivery?
See, contactless, I mean, if you think about online, everything is contactless until the point you make an order, right? The medium already has it. In fact, since you brought it up, I wanted to tell you also that COVID is a time where it brought us to do various things also. If you think initially the lockdown started off with phase where Mumbai was shut down, so and Chennai was operational. So because we were very agile, we actually brought in products from Mumbai to Chennai and we were shipping it from here. Then for a few days, people were not stepping out, but we were saying, let's do a lot of try at home booking. So our salesman was actually walking into the house of people and then doing it. Then that was also shut down. That is when we realized that we should have another feature called live video. So CartLane, video chat has to happen in order to make a sale. And so we implemented that feature by the tech team very quickly, put together video chatting. And so today you can book an appointment in the product in our PD page, product detail page for appointment with one of our staff, and they will actually show the real product to you. It's not the pictures anymore. It is a real product. They will have a chat with you and then show the product from whichever location in India that product is. So and there will be a chat that happens and we make it happen. So in terms of the delivery, obviously, the delivery people, we don't do our own delivery. Our own delivery is only very minimal. Our delivery is through Blue Dart primarily and other partners also. There are shipping partners, and they already started doing contactless, deliveries as such, because the payment, if it's already prepaid, already done, then there is nothing to be. You don't need to do anything contactful in that.
The second thing is sanitization of product, because the customer are not ready to try the product which already tried by someone else.
Very good question. So we actually piloted this in our Bangalore Indiranagar store. We follow the usual procedure of I'll talk about both the walk-in perspective as well as a product also. I'll address your question in a minute. But right from consumers walking into a store to all the salesmen, all of that is fully sanitized, and we do deep cleaning of the showroom. And when somebody is coming in, we take measures of the hand sanitization, the mask in the stores. Even the salesmen will wear mask and gloves also, and constantly they clean all the surfaces, using sanitization. For the jewelry specifically, there is a particular chemical, that we use, which actually sanitizes the jewelry also after use. So we do that, and then so that, because we don't want to spoil the quality of the jewelry as well, because you cannot just spray any chemical on it to do the cleaning. So we do sanitize it after the use also, after every trial, and then it is put back into the shelf. The same procedure continues to happen.
The third one is air conditioning, because the most of offline facilities have air condition, especially in jewelry stores. There is also the fear of spreading of COVID in an air conditioned environment. How you are going to face that?
So I actually live in the heart of the jewelry capital of Chennai. There's a place called T Nagar, which is where all the large jewelry stores are there. So the rule of the government is these stores should not have the air conditions on. So they have to have the main door open. So clearly there is a board that is put outside the showrooms that air condition doesn't function here, and still people are ready to walk in and make a purchase. The same holds good for our showrooms also. So we keep it open, and even if there is like how there are banks that do it, right? The door will be open, but the air condition might be on inside, but the door will be open only. Earlier, to avoid the AC from going out, we'll have the main door closed. But now people don't close it anymore. They just leave it open. But because there are certain shops where there is no windows available, it is fully closed. And that's how the shops has been designed, especially in jewelry showrooms. Because of the theft and robbery and so on, it is not a showroom which will have many windows and breakable walls. So what they do is they leave the main door open, so that and even if there is any local air condition that is possible, they may have that also.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for
Mr. Guru, do you see a jump in online sales post-COVID, especially with reference to jewelry?
No, we have already opened up 50% of our showrooms as of today, and so the typical mix that we had before COVID is retail is our largest revenue grosser when compared to online. Retail gives, I mean, it's like about 80-20 or 75-25 depending on which year it is, and we are already started to see that retail has started slowly touching the online sales very quickly as soon as it started opening. But when the lockdown, obviously during the lockdown, all sales were only happening online. But unfortunately, we were not able to dispatch the products, but booking was happening online.
Okay, okay.
Hello, sir. I'm Siddharth Guru.
Hi, Siddharth.
How are you, sir?
Fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, sir. So I have
Guru versus Guru.
So I have one question. You said that about 15 days return policy.
Yeah.
How is this possible for such a costly commodity, and how will you identify the minute damage in the product after return?
Okay. So I was also saying we were having 30-day return policy. In fact, many people in the industry, and this is something which doesn't happen in a retail showroom, right? The reason for a return policy is obviously to build the trust in the business itself, so that consumer can easily buy online. But over a period of time, we already know that 30 days is not necessary. 15 days is good enough for them to make up their mind whether our product is good enough for them or not, and they can do a return of the product. We have a quality team. Obviously, before dispatch, we do a quality check, and the same thing holds good even when we are collecting the product from the customer. In fact, this return is also, it's a free shipping for the people who are returning. So no questions asked. If the customer wants to return the product in 15 days, we do the reverse shipping in our own cost. So that is the level in which one has to do in order to make a transaction happen online for a consumer, because we were ready to go that far, because we definitely trust in our product. That is the kind of trust that we put on our product, to say that the moment somebody actually buys it and be able to wear it, they will definitely like it, and they would not return it for any silly reason. They would return perhaps for maybe for certain desire that they may have had by looking at the image, and when they actually see it in the hand, that image and what they see in the product may not match. So when they are wearing it, they may not like the product. But end of the day, when we say that the customer has to trust us buying online, we also feel that we should trust them back and then give them the benefit of returning it if they don't like the product. Hence, we left it open, and people still ask if the consumers are abusing the system. I can tell you that they don't abuse. People don't abuse at all, because they are ready to invest 15,000, 16,000 rupees online to buy a product. It's not a joke for them to do that and play games with the company, right? Because it's their precious time. They're also involved in the purchasing of the product, and they give their details and they actually make a purchase. So we trust them to definitely be genuine about it. So they buy it, they see it. Sometimes they may not like it. Their husband may not like it. Their family may not like it. Whichever reason it is, we actually ask them to return, and mostly they go for an exchange. Even when they return, because they are genuine, They just say, okay, I thought this size would fit me, but but it did not. It is tighter, so give me the next size. So we do that as well. So, and when we get it back, the quality check does definitely happen.
Manikandan, Professor Ramu had a question.
Yes, sir. I have put into the system. Ramu, you are on it. But yes, can I read the question?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
The question is, do you think COVID-19 will change marketers' working habits long term? What role will technology play in this? The question Ramu is asking.
Sorry, can you please repeat?
Question is, do you think COVID-19 will change marketers' working habits in the long term?
Marketers?
Working habits.
Working habits, okay.
Yeah. And what role will technology play?
So when you, is it the digital marketing team? If it's digital marketing team, nothing changes in digital marketing because they continue to function, using the same, the usual way of digital marketing is using Facebook or Google or an Instagram type of marketing. And that continues to happen the way it is. So work-wise, their profile doesn't change. For the retail marketing, definitely we see that the spend is going to be cut majorly. The cost cutting will happen on the marketing expense on retail because the measurable impact is very evident on a digital medium as opposed to a retail medium. And we also think that consumers are not fully ready to walk into a store, though there are many people who are walking in, but the whole market is not opened up yet. So then marketers would prefer to wait till the sentiment changes before they start spending heavy on the OHTs type of advertisement.
One last question from Sri Raman, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sir, good afternoon. Indeed, it was a wonderful presentation. I felt like I was sitting inside CartLane office. Insightful presentation.
You're welcome. Definitely, you can come and sit inside.
Sir, my question is, sir, in jewelry business, if I'm right, retaining the old customers is very important rather than retaining the new footfalls. So do you have any techniques to just understand the churn of the customers and how you analyze it and how you fix it?
Great. That's a very good question. So, I mean, in fact, there are some academic concepts here also which comes into play. Primarily, there's something called a lifetime value of a consumer, right? That's something which is something which organizations do measure, because you spend so much to make a consumer walk into your showroom, whether it is digital or non-digital also, right? So, and if the consumer doesn't convert immediately, that is one way to look at it, but the consumer might convert in few weeks time, because jewelry purchase is not impulse purchase. Some people do, but it is not fully impulse. So when you make that consumer walk in, even if they convert after 2 weeks, right, you would always look for what is the lifetime value you can actually expect from that particular consumer. So that is the marketer's job, to ensure that the repeat rate is we calculate the repeat rate of a consumer across different channels, across different time zones. So on an average, we see that there are probably 2 times in a year, people do the purchase for jewelry. If you're taking either for one of their birthday celebrations or anniversary, the other one for perhaps for an occasion like a Dhanteras and so on. But that number continues to keep growing because there's various new occasions that comes into play. So the concept in digital marketing, it's called as remarketing or retargeting. So a consumer once when they buy it, when they actually come into our website and start browsing, etc., we keep targeting them back through various ads and various means for them to keep coming back to us. So what they saw, so there are various measures there. Let's say you saw a product and you have expressed some interest in that product, and if there is a price drop in that particular product, that is an occasion for me to tell you that, hey Sriram, you were looking at this product. It was 4,000 rupees back then, but now it is selling at 3,300 rupees. If you're still interested, it is available in a showroom near you, and this is where you can go and buy it. So that will make for a very good story for you to then immediately go back. And because if I say just come back to the website also, then there is already a small inertia. So if I make it such that it is available in a showroom near you and with the relevant messaging, then you are definitely prone to consider that. So we do quite a lot of measures like that. There are many things that we do, right from the consumers, the agents calling the consumers or wishing them on their birthday or an anniversary, and then genuinely get an interest in the consumer's life, so that they can consider CartLane whenever they have a jewelry purchasing occasion also. And we celebrate a lot of anniversaries and birthdays and cake cutting in our showrooms. We invite the customers come to our store, even if they have been an old customer. We call them up and they come to our store and do a cake cutting celebration. These are experiences and things that will remain in their mind, because then it doesn't feel like it's a transactional business, because you cannot expect this from a supermarket. People come in there, they don't look for any relationship there, right? It's a very transaction oriented business. You walk in for essential service, you buy in and get out. Whereas in a deep purchasing experience like a jewelry, right? And especially it's connected with emotions. There are so many times we had to fly out a product just for a single product. We'll actually send one of our staff in a flight to take the product, fly from one city to another city, just to meet an engagement ceremony or a wedding ceremony, because it's such an important occasion for the customer that if we miss that date for whatever reason, then we are actually not fulfilling our promise. It's not like any other, it's not a purchase of a gift card or a gold coin. When they are buying an engagement ring, when they are buying a wedding ring, or when we know the occasion, if it's an important birthday or an anniversary, we have an obligation to not play with their sensitivities and emotions. We cannot just say the product got delayed because of manufacturing and all. Despite that, I have to admit that we have certain delays and we are trying to cover that, do a lot of measures to arrest that and avoid that. But majority of the times we ensure that we meet it. We meet it such that it brings a delight to the consumer. Many times, there are interesting stories. If you're in the retail space, we have even delivered in a moving car. We actually meet the customer. The customer was going to a particular wedding very recently, 3 months ago, and this is in Calcutta. And the product that the person chose came very late, or the order was made late, and we had to actually meet the customer midway, and the customer was going just to the wedding to gift it. So almost like few kilometers outside of the wedding hall is when we met the customer in a car and then gave the product, and that product they gave and gifted to the wedding couple. So these are, because if that has not happened, right, we don't actually create any value for the consumers.
Thank you, sir.
In fact, I would like to share one experience which I have had with Tata Gold Plus. Of course, now it has become Tanishq.
Yeah.
Tata Gold Plus used to take customers in a Volvo bus to their Hosur plant.
Correct, Hosur plant.
Okay, and we were taken around and we saw all the facilities and we had a detailed interaction with all the people over there and came back. Fantastic experience. Instilling a kind of a confidence, instilling a kind of a trust.
Correct.
Okay. One last question from one of my friends. He is Dr. Suresh Paul Anthony from Indian Institute of Management, Trichy. He would like to raise a question with which we can finish it off, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Dr. Suresh, please. SPA?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Gurumurthy, AGV, and Manigandan. Wonderful presentation, Mr. Guru. Thank you for the opportunity. You did mention, Professor AGV, he was mentioning that you started online and then 4 years later you moved offline. Just a speculative question from a conceptual point of view. What difference would it have made if you had started face-to-face first and then moved online?
Very good question. It wasn't a choice for us because we already know that retail presence needs a heavier investment than online.
Okay.
So, and we wouldn't have become a national brand had we started retail, which is how your regular mom and pop stores happen even in your any's location, right? There are so many jewelers in our neighborhood. Today, they are not thinking on a scale because they are not present online. Even if they are present online, their thought process would have been to basically have the online as a medium to transact with that particular store. So what we did not want to do is we don't want to fall into that trap of opening up a retail store and have a heavier investment in inventory and I think somebody's
Manikandan?
Yeah, it's my.
Yeah, please go on mute. Yeah.
Thank you. So we did not want to do that purely for inventory, and retail showrooms have to be, as you know, Professor, location is very, very important for retail, especially for jewelry. You cannot be in a very dark alley in a jewelry. It has to be prominently located, and hence the cost of running that retail operation would have been very high, and we wouldn't have been able to scale. So that's the biggest reason why we were born digital, because the accessibility and the cost of operation has to be very less to begin with. Once the brand started setting in, we realized that no longer we'll be able to carry on with the pure online brand. And when we opened up our showroom is when we started dropping the .com itself in it, because when we do .com, people see it as only an internet company, and hence we moved away from CartLane.com as a company name to just CartLane itself. So definitely we wouldn't be doing. Today we have an opportunity to introduce various things at various levels. If you want to get a pulse of customer direct behavior and feedback, we can easily launch anything in our retail showroom and get the feedback of customer. If we want to know the pulse of customer digitally for something, we launch it online or in our app and see the behavior before launching it in our showrooms. So having this, I want to clarify here is, website is just not, I mean, if you treat going digital means just having a website, I think that defeats the strategy itself. There has to, the website or the technology has to be a strategic piece in this business. And the strategy here is have a presence across all the mediums and distribute the inventory, have a shared inventory, shared customer profile, customer bases, give an experience that cannot be done in just one medium, and it cannot be done with a optimized cost with just one medium. So that is the strategy here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Good day to you.
Mr. Guru, it was a marathon session. 2 hours 25 minutes. Okay, excellent.
Oh, wow.
Excellent.
I didn't even know that time actually.
It's almost 2 hours 25 minutes. Okay, thank you very much for sparing your time. We had great insights from your end, and I'm sure probably for the next 2 to 3 days you can expect more people logging onto your website from this region. Whether they are the existing ones or the new ones, I am damn sure. Because I did it, I did a purchase some 6 years back, and then subsequently I didn't go for it. Okay, no specific reason, but I'm trying to have a look at it again after listening to you. Okay, thank you very much, and let me invite one of my students to propose the formal vote of thanks.
Sure, pleasure's mine, Professor. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you very much.
I sincerely thank Mr. Gurukeerthi Gurunathan for gracing this session with his intensive and interesting speech. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to our Director Dr. A.G. Narayanan, Chief Executive Captain Sendil Kumar, faculty members, students of DJME, and participants from various institutions for their active participation throughout the session. I also thank Siddharth Guru of 2nd MBA, who has referred the speaker for today's Connect program. Thank you.
Thank you, Srihari.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to stay connected with you. Thank you very much.
Definitely, Professor. Thank you.
Have a great weekend ahead.
All right.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Manikandan. Great show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
ஸ்ரீராமன் சார் விட்டாரு சார் நடுவில்.
Sorry?
ஸ்ரீராமன் சார் வந்து டவுட் கேட்டாரு. வீடியோ பிட் பண்ணேன்.
Sometimes we go unconscious.
வீடியோ பிட் பண்ண ஆடியோ மறந்துட்டேன் சார்.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.